Sit down.
Please.
Sit down.
No.
Sit down.
No, naughty.
Sit down.
This is Finn trying to...
Hi, everybody! Oh, hang on.
This might not work.
There's some,
He's sitting, he's sitting.
there's some tasty food knocking about. Are we live?
We're live.
Hello, hello.
No one's watching it, so we're all good. We can just adjust and
Should we have a little pour?
have a little pour? There's somebody
Thank you
who's
very
just
much.
joined us. Hello.
Evening all,
Right.
evening all.
Today is pink. So we've done our best to drum up a couple of pink items of clothing.
Welcome, welcome. We're just hanging on for you.
We'll just pour a little glass and wait for everyone to catch up. Oh, I think we were going to go the other way around with the glasses, actually.
There we go.
That's much
There
better.
we go.
Excellent.
Okay.
So, yes, it's Sunday and it's 6 o'clock again, which has come around extremely quickly.
Is anybody there?
Yeah, we've got some people joining.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again.
So,
Pretty in pink this evening.
those of you who joined us on Thursday will realise we had a slight technical hitch, which was we ran out of a battery, and we had two laptops streaming at the same time. And today, I think we've managed to stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time, which means that everybody's a winner, and you don't have to have a Facebook account, and you don't have to have a YouTube account. You can join us from anywhere. So that is the idea. So has everyone got a glass?
Well, hurrah! So welcome YouTube,
Yeah,
welcome Facebook,
welcome.
welcome anything else that anybody's using.
All around the world.
So yes, so if you didn't already guess it, tonight is Tickled Pink, and
Oh, we've got a big
we're in
group.
pink, and we've even got Doggy's got his little
Oh,
pink hairbrush.
And Fenella's just come in with a big group. Hello from Jill, Fenella, Fiona, Wendy, Emma, and Iona, who are all watching via YouTube and Zoom. Who would have
Fantastic!
thought?
Great to see you. Now come on, Doggy, sort yourself out.
Hi, Sam.
So
Sorry.
those of you who don't know us, I'm Pam, this is Jude,
Hi.
and this is our star player who's intent on getting his hands on a prawn. His nut on a prawn.
Just
This
nut.
is little Finn McCall. He's going to start.
You just stay there.
He's a proper fan of rosé. So this evening is all about rosé.
All about rosé.
So what is rosé all about? Well, actually, no. Quick roundup. What are we talking about? What's been happening this week?
Well, South Africa opened its doors again and are now exporting again. But
Yep.
that's had no great impact on the rosé section, or certainly not ours.
No.
I'm slightly concerned about how close this is to my ear, but we'll carry on.
But the South Africans have quite rightly opened their exports up, which means that there has been a little bit of a lull in wine availability from South Africa, but it should only be sort of a couple of weeks. We've got a few wines out of stock, blockheads, but they're due in about, well, any day now they should be docking.
Mm-hmm.
That's blockhead Chenin Blanc and blockhead Shiraz.
Very important additions.
Anything else that we're out of?
Not
Bit
really.
short on my favourite wine of the moment, which is the Albarino from Rivelleste in Spain.
But they'll all be coming back in, so it's no problem.
It will
really.
be back soon, so just keep watching the space on HannibalBrown.com. There's plenty of wines at the end.
A few more hellos here. So Karen, thank you, spotted our pink theme. Trying
Evening,
very
Karen.
hard.
Evening,
Hi, Luke.
Karen.
Hi, Ross. Hi, Epsom Hockey Club. Nice to see you. Simon Contra and Amanda, we hope. Hi, George. Presumably Mark's there too. Nice to see everyone joining us. Well done, and I'm glad you like the pink. So I suppose we should actually, because we specified two rosés that we were going to sort of talk about this evening, which are two rosés that we love, and they're both very different to each other.
Yeah.
So we're
going to start talking about this little chappie. I'll just get a little bit closer so you can see it. This is a Pinot Noir from a winery called Villa Wolf, produced by Dr. Ernst Loosen, who is reputed, or arguably, one of the top wine producers in the world. And he's German. Very unusual.
Shock horror.
Very unusual to get German rosé for one thing, and very unusual to get German Pinot Noir rosé.
Mm-hmm.
Ordinarily, Pinot Noir makes red wine. But I suppose that's probably a good question, actually. You know, what's rosé all about? How do you make it? Anybody know how you make it?
Put it out then. So this particular rosé is a light, delicate rosé, very nice, delicate colour.
Yeah.
We would describe it as being slightly off dry.
Yes.
Now, the thought of slightly off-dry German rosé might make a lot of people run a mile, but actually it's really beautifully made and it's stunning.
Yeah.
And if you've got the right food with it, that's where the importance lies.
Yeah.
So we had a phone call this afternoon from Gemma, actually, and I know Gemma's there with Ross. They're making a red lentil curry with a bit of spice to it. And she said, which one of the rosés should I be drinking with it? And the answer was definitely the Pinot Noir, because it's got that nice bit of fruitiness and a little hint of sweetness, although it's not sweet, don't worry.
Yeah.
It goes really well with spice and pepperiness.
Yeah. So anybody who's drinking this evening, when you open it, you may well find a little bit of spritz. Now that spritz it's nothing to be worried about, and in actual fact it will just disappear after a wee while. But what generally happens with most white and rosé wines and red as well is there's a gap between the fill points and the closure, and the winemakers often just sort of put they pump a little bit of CO2 gas in there, and it just keeps the freshness in. That's all. So if you unscrew it and it goes, don't be surprised, and it might have just a touch of spritz, but it gives it that nice sort of light and nice freshness.
And it's only really the first glass, isn't it, that has the spritz.
Yeah.
Think of it as a nice thing.
So rosé splits opinion, and a lot of people love it, and a lot of people won't go near it. I remember when I used to work for a massive wine pub company, and my boss, who was a jolly good Scot, Stevie Stewart, who now actually produces Stewart's. He's got Stewart's Brewery up in Scotland. He always said, "Pink rosés for girls." How wrong he was. Now that was good. That was probably about 8 or 10 years ago, and I suspect there's probably 80% of wine drinkers, whether they're male or female, now have a drop of rosé from time to time.
Definitely. I mean, over the past 10 years, it's something like 20% each year increase, isn't it, on rosé demand and consumption.
But if ever there was a category in anything really, let alone wine, that can split opinion, it is rosé, and it's because this is really where you get the ugly as well as the fabulous. And I suppose we could just talk about the uglies, couldn't we? In fact, why don't I just go and grab an ugly?
Okay, you go grab an ugly. I'm just going to mention food. So with both of these rosés, actually, we've gone with some little prawns with a piri-piri mayo, and then there was a bit more parma, but actually when we were setting up, Finn saw the opportunity to have a quick lick, which took off about half of the board, which is unfortunate. So we might not have the parma ham at this point. Here we go.
That's what you call ugly.
I mean, we're talking colour here.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, let me just hold it up a bit. I wonder if you can see that. So it's a sort of browny orange.
It's an example of a wine that has oxidized in the bottle, which fundamentally shouldn't have happened, but it's old, it's been sitting about, and eventually the colour will turn. And it is these days, in the year 2020, it's all about the colour. And certainly the supermarket buyers, pretty much all sort of wholesale buyers, if you like, they're looking for colour.
So actually, before we go any further, that leads me on to my first question, which I'll be really interested in. And hello to everyone else who's joined us since, which is, Suki, Ross, nice to see you. Kelly has spotted we're in a slightly different location. Obviously, the big guy needs his sleep, his beauty sleep, so he's wanted to sit on the sofa this time. So one of the questions we were going to put out there. Oh, hi Anne.
Hi Anne. Well done from Scotland.
So when you're choosing a rosé wine and you're looking at, let's say, the shelves, and let's hope it's not a supermarket, but we know that from convenience perspective, it probably is 90% of the time. What do you choose your wine on? What is your one go-to factor when you're looking at a rosé that you think that should be all right? And be honest, because it's really interesting to hear people's opinions.
It is a good question, because bear in mind also the rosé category in wine has rocketed. It used to be, 5% of all wine sales was pink. And now it's close to 24, 25% at the moment. Well, certainly. And of course, it also goes through the roof in the year of April when the sun comes out. That's not to say that it doesn't get drunk throughout the year. It does, but the majority gets drunk in the summer. And the nice thing about European rosés is they coincide with the summer months. So the new vintages And bear in mind, you want to drink rosé really young. So this Villa Wolf is 2018. It will be changing vintage 2019 very soon. And the other one that we're going to be talking about, the Chateau d'Olier, is already on 2019. And they've literally just been released. So they were only bottled probably in the last 4 to 6 weeks. So the time that it takes to get onto the shelves, it's as fresh as a fresh thing.
Let's go Daisy. So Sam has come up with a point, and she says her go-to when she's looking at a rosé is from the south of France. Now that is bang on as far as we're concerned. It's a good, safe bet.
Yeah.
If you've got a nice, delicate, pale colour, this is from, it doesn't have to be Provence, it could be from anywhere down the south there. The likelihood is you're going to have a dry, fresh style rosé that you'd be drinking on holiday when you're sat looking out at the boats coming in and out in Monte Carlo or wherever.
But here's the other thing, though, is going back to the people who make the declaration, I don't like rosé. Well, I defy any of those people to blindfold themselves and still know that they were drinking rosé. It's incredibly difficult to categorize, to define the flavors of rosé wine. But I mean, think strawberries, delicate, really, really delicate strawberries, a nice sort of vivacious acidity, but really, nothing too complicated is the key. But there are an awful lot of roses out there that are gaining massive popularity because, and certainly, a lot of celebrities who've got on the bandwagon and thought, "Oh, I can make a few."
Oh yes, let's get some people to chuck us some names. Name a celebrity or celebrities who have made their own rosé wines.
Yeah,
there's quite a few big A-listers that you should at least be able to get 3 of, let's say.
Yeah.
And also a big hello to Nicola and Esther.
Hi, Nicola.
We're they're Bournemouth, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Our Hay Festival goes. Sadly, that's not happening this year, but we might have to do something vaguely book themed for a couple of weeks' time.
It is true to say that Hannibal Brown rosé sales are largely generated by the events that we do. So badminton horse trials, the Hay Festival, Burley, Gapcombe, Blenheim, etc., etc., etc. Because it is a wine to just really enjoy with your pals, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's lighthearted, but it can be decent quality, of course. Yeah. But it's a bit of fun for the sunshine. Yeah. We've just got some answers coming through here. So Beckham, I'm not sure Beckham's made his own rosé, actually. Good guess. Luke's coming with Brad Pitt and the Home Wrecker.
Brangelina.
Yeah, absolutely. They were almost the first big names, weren't they, recently? They made the Mirabelle rosé, which is very nice, actually, but way overpriced. Fancy bottle. Yeah. But it works for some. We've got a question about that.
Okay.
Katie Price, does she make rosé?
She probably does.
Frightening, to be frank.
She probably does.
So
Cliff Richard, he makes it.
Oh, Vicky's just tuned in from France. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Vicky.
Okay, so we're putting it out there.
She's just tuned in at the point where we say Provence makes the best rosé in the world.
Cheers to that. So we've had a few of the celebrities. Cliff, I'm not sure if he makes a rosé, but he certainly does have his own vineyards.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp has made his own rosé. That's actually bang on. There's a musician, okay? Think rock star. To put it out there. And another question that we had putting out there was, we want to know what people choose their wines on, their rosés on, when they go to the supermarket. So Sam said she checks for one from the south of France, which is a good call.
Well, that suggests that she's looking for dry.
Yes, yeah, if you like a dry rosé. I mean, there's other people out there who still like sweet rosés.
Well, here's the question. What is the most successful rosé ever in the world? I'll leave that one with you for a moment.
Think about that.
So,
Bon Jovi, sorry, the answer's just come in from Epsom Hockey Club. Bon Jovi, shall I just say a little word about this?
Yes. Bon
Jovi and his son brought out a rosé recently called Hampton Water. When I say recently, it was probably about 2.5 years ago now, if not more. I'm presuming everybody has heard of Whispering Angel. So this marketing rosé success that has swept the world of people.
Huge in the city, not so huge now.
It's a brand. It's a brand, but it's sort of high-end rosé with fancy branding. But it's not from Provence, but it's Southern French.
It's from Bordeaux.
Oh, is it Bordeaux? Okay. And it's got the lovely delicate, I'll try and get my top out of the way so you can see, it's got the lovely delicate colour, but it's been a huge success. Anyway, in the States, in the fancy pants Hamptons areas, they call Whispering Angel Hampton Water because it's what they're drinking by the bucket load, because they're all doing it for status and to show off that they're drinking something that other people have heard of.
Yeah.
So anyway, so when Bon Jovi and his son brought out their wine, they decided to call it Hampton Water and just cut straight to the chase, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
which is interesting because that's a bunch of Americans who've cottoned onto the point of actually how delicious and refreshing dry rosé can be, because of course the majority of rosé that is in the US is all those nasty big brands, the Blossom Hills, the Beringers, and the Gallows and what have you. But those style of rosés, these very, very sweet rosés, I think it was Sutter Hill, in actual fact, which is a big winery winery estate in California, fell upon the concept of making a sweet rosé out of white Zinfandel. Now, white Zinfandel is great, not to be confused with red Zinfandel, which makes massive, massive red wines. It's also known in Italy as Primitivo. That's the grape variety. But these big white Zins, they are colossally successful, and but arguably with a very sort of younger consumer, and they arguably that's what they were driving for. They were driving for market share by getting the sort of the lower the younger audience to start drinking wine, and what better way than to whack in a whole lot of sugar. So the difference is phenomenal. Now, going back to the first wine that we've got here, which is the Villa Wolf Pinot Noir, which has got just a hint of sweetness. And that hint of sweetness is approximately 12 grams of sugar per litre. Compare that to your Blossom Hills or your Beringers or your, what was it on? Gallo, or your Barefoot.
Echo
Falls, any of those. We're talking 30, 40, 50 grams of sugar in the litre. So not only do you pile on the pounds, but your teeth rot. So
happy days. Right, well, that's a good plug for the big brand rosés. There's actually a few people who guessed the right answer on the most popular brand of rosé.
What have we got? Have we? Have they?
So there might have been some.
Anne Wallace in Scotland, straight in with Matthias. Well done, Anne.
Sam says Matthias.
Rosé.
Actually, Fenella has made a really good point. So as per her student daughter, Echo Falls, which says it all. They love it. Glugging,
they love the sugar. They love the sugar.
You know,
but as I said, it's not particularly healthy.
I suppose you could ask yourself with the teenage daughter thing: would you rather that she was drinking Echo Falls rosé or Super Tenants? You'd rather it was the sweet rosé. You'd rather it was the sweet rosé. So in a way, it's kind of it's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. So just going back to this chappy. So a hint of sweetness, but only a hint. As Jude said, fantastic with spicy food, because that hint of sweetness just cuts through the spice and just makes, your onion bhajis, your curries and what have you. It just sort of tempers the heat. Always drink it super fresh. And so if you're looking for an alternative to your standard beer with your curry, this is a great wine. Yep. What have we got in the same style in terms of actually spicy food, other wines?
Well, we're actually, a week today is curry night.
Oh, yes!
Oh, no, it's not today. A week on Thursday.
I'm ahead of myself.
So we're going to be talking wines that go with curry then. But certainly soft fruit like a Riesling that's dry but not super dry.
Yeah.
A really nice option. Gewürztraminer. Which is a lovely aromatic wine that's got a softness as well. So we've got quite a few that go really nicely with spicy food. So give us a shout if you want a few sort of tips on that.
Yeah.
So just going back to rosé, because one of the things Pam often says in when we run our tastings is that rosé is a result of a failed red wine.
Yes.
So, or used to be. That's how sort of the mass market rosé sort of comes about.
Correct.
So explain.
Yeah, so essentially rosé was what we call a byproduct of red wine that just failed. So if you imagine your little grapes that are growing and growing and growing on your vines, and maybe the weather's not right and they don't ripen, they don't mature, they don't get potential alcohol in them, they don't get sufficient sort of fructose sugar in there to convert into alcohol, and basically there's insufficient to make anything out of them other than a very, very cheap basic plonk. And also a grape, a red wine grape that possibly doesn't have enough pigment in the skin, you're just not going to get the color. So, you know, previously in years gone by, this is where the winemakers really didn't have a second thought about rosé wine. It was literally sling it in the rosé bucket and let's see if we can sell it. Which means that actually there's an awful lot of very basic standard, in fact, very poor standard rosé, because that it was never meant to be, it was never designed to be high quality. However, because we are where we are, and the 2020 is a little bit more sort of open-minded, I think, than it used to be. People started drinking rosé. They liked the color idea and the lightness and this, that, and the other. And a lot of winemakers suddenly went, hang on a second, there's an opportunity here. It doesn't have to be red, it hasn't happened to be white. So the wineries that we follow at Hannibal Brown, they're actually purposely going out of their way to produce rosé wines. So Ernst Lucen, Villa Wolf, as I said, he's one of the top winemakers in the world. Who would have thought? He probably never thought he'd be producing a pink wine, but he is. And then our lovely Chateau d'Olière from a little village called Olière, funnily enough, in the Provence, down in the south of France. Again, they are specifically going out of their wine to produce these really, really lovely, elegant styles. But actually, they're packed with flavour. And I mean, I love this one. We drink bucket loads of this. I shouldn't say that, but we do.
Well, and supply it to the nation, the key worker service we're offering. Yeah, so if you ever see on a label Saigné, this is a word that you might see Saigné, possibly with an accent somewhere.
Blooded or bled.
Okay, which doesn't sound quite so appealing, but that Saigné is produced as a sort of byproduct of red winemaking, in that they take the grapes, get the juice, get the skins in, but actually remove some of the juice so that the rest of the wine, or the rest of the juice, has got more contact with the skins, and it's therefore making it sort of slightly falsely richer than had all of that in there and been more dilute.
That's right.
So there's nothing wrong with that necessarily if it's more to, you know, if you've still got good quality fruit, but there certainly is a large volume of just but
it's very interesting when you look at these rosés in a dare I say a supermarket. I mean, obviously I never spend any time looking at rosés in supermarkets, but if you do,
maybe we should.
You now see shelves and shelves, and certainly even in France, if you go into a French supermarket, there's rows and rows of rosé, and they're all different colours. They're all different colours, but in isolation, take that one away. That's it.
Yeah, you almost need.
And you've got, actually, it looks a bit strange.
It's your shirt behind it, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. There. How about that?
Here we go.
There. You can see how light it is, and this is what people are after, and this, the winemakers know, is what helps sell their wine, the appearance. Now, I have to tell you that there are different ways of producing rosé wine, but really the way to produce it is you literally take red grapes, so Pinot Noir grapes, and you macerate the colour. You take the colour from the skins, you macerate the wine on the skins for a short length of time, but not too long, until you get the perfect pink, and that is it. But here's a question: can you make rosé wine out of blending red wine with white wine?
It's something that Karen suggested earlier, actually, but followed by a ha. How do you make rosé?
Can you do it?
So Alice has just pointed out Snoozy Finn. He's had a very big day. He's been playing with his friend Ruby, and it's all very tiring. So hence we've adjourned to the comfy seats of the sofa to talk about rosé
as well.
Oh, okay.
There's a question there. I can't read it. What does it say? Lancer Josie, good bottles. I can't read what that says.
Lancer's rosé.
Lancer's rosé. Yes.
Lancer's rosé.
I do. I don't know that well.
Okay, we'll move on from Lancer's.
Anyway, so going back to the colour, it's so important for these producers to get the right colour. Now, certain grape varieties produce different colours. And everybody knows Rioja. We've talked a lot about Rioja. You get white Rioja, you get red Rioja, and in the Rioja region, they also produce rosé. However, the Tempranillo grape tends to give a more orange wine. So here's one I prepared earlier. That colour. Not as appealing, not in any way as appealing, but if you don't drink with your eyes, it's actually very nice rosé. But we're not really in that sector these days. It is all about the lovely lightness. I have to make an announcement here, actually, that I used to work for a South African winery. It was a rather large South African winery, and they were desperate because they couldn't get the colour right in their pink wine. It was always coming out like Tizer. And they realised, actually, as a lot of other South African wineries do, that if they blend red wine with white wine, they can make the perfect colour every time. So that's what they did.
Sounds like a bit of a cheat, but you know, winemakers are also allowed to add
it's not
sugar
really
and acid
the way,
and...
It's not really the way you should be drinking making rosé wine. It does not make for a good quality rosé. No, if you want to, but really... you do get the right colour. What can we say? And it hits a price point that, let's face it, 80% of the nation buy their wine at. So it's a necessary evil. That's right.
We've got a comment about the Ned Pinot Gris Kiwi wine. It's a white wine, but almost
big brand. It's a big brand.
Hang on, that's not that question. But almost rosé in colour, and that's a really good point, actually, Sam. We went to, in fact, every year we go to the Natural Wine Fair, which is a wine fair, which is a trade event for the majority of it, and then it opens up to the public as well. And it's all organic, very natural, you know, flip flops and beards kind of wines. But interesting. And we actually had a Pinot Grigio there, so the same grape genetically as Pinot Gris, and it was basically like that in colour, wasn't it? Yeah. And it's a white grape variety, but Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris, there is a little bit of colour in the skin, so it's not green as a green grape. It's got a little hint, and it's enough.
And you can just see a hint of pinking in the wine itself,
which is, I think, is really nice. Actually, I think it's a really nice aspect of Pinot Gris. And you do sometimes see it. We've been to a lot of Koshu tastings. Koshu is a Japanese white wine, but when you see the grapes on the vine, they're sort of a bit more delicate than Pam's shirt colour.
This isn't very delicate.
No, it's not here. Much more delicate than Pam's shirt colour. And Koshu sometimes has a little hint of pink about it. It's a really gentle, delicate wine, although the price tag isn't quite so delicate.
20 quid for a bottle of Grace Koshu, unfortunately. It's nice. It goes very well with your sushi, and that's what they're designed to go with.
So who's eating with their rosé, and what are you eating, and does it work, and does it go well together? That's what I'd like to know.
We have, with our Olière,
yes, here we are, the remainder of the Serrano ham. We can just put that there. So that one might have been licked. So let's go with these ones. God. We'll go with these ones. It's all about herd immunity in the household. So this is a little chorizo parmesan and parma ham package, which I think will go really nicely with the Chateau d'Olière rosé, which is the one that we've opened and we're drinking this evening. Mainly because once we've finished here and wrapped up, we're going to crack on the gambas and have Portuguese-style kind of peri-peri prawns, but not too spicy, but it will go really nicely. So there's tactics to our choices.
Yeah. So a little bit of saltiness in the parma ham. Coupled with just a hint of ripeness. There's very little sugar. I think it's 0.5 grams or something in the Olière. So it's bone dry, but it doesn't come across as bone dry because the amount of lovely ripeness in the wine. So that ripeness pairs nicely with the salt.
It's a really nice combination, actually. And they're both leave your palate quite fresh because they're quite zingy, and
in fact it even lifts the wine. It lifts really the wine, which is similar to the Villewolf Pinot Noir Rosé. When you put it with spicy food, the spice actually tends to lift the wine and just sort of like opens it up and just.
When you get a good combination, it's a real winner. Fenella's eating homemade garlic bread.
Somebody else, Samantha's eating buffalo cauliflower wings.
Oh yeah.
I hope she's eating them. Are you eating them with the Villa Wolf? I think that would be a great combo.
That would be a good combo with the spice and the Villa Wolf. Garlic bread, well, I just love garlic bread, to be fair. I think you can have it.
I mean, and that's the thing. That is the thing about rosé wine. It is so versatile, and it kind of annoys me when there's so many people out there who refuse to try rosé. Mind you, there's actually, by comparison, there's very few.
These days,
because with the quality that you're getting from the two wines that we've got here and other rosé wines on our list, You know, I mean, these seriously pack a punch, and they set their stall.
Well, I think so. To go back to, we should mention the price point of these wines because, you know,
they're Billy bargains. What can we say?
You're looking at now. I'm getting the feeling that we might not have written these prices down.
No, we never do that.
The Chateau d'Olier is a Provence rosé, and it's around about
$13.50, I believe.
$13.50-ish, give or take. And then the Villa Wolf is about £12. I mean, they're both really great value because they're such stunning wines that you can really like go to town with the food combination.
And remember, you're not spending your money on anything other than food and drink at the moment, so fill your boots.
Yeah, quite. And then I'm just going to talk about the little canapé I made for our. When I say made, it's pretty basic, but we've got these lovely prawns that we're going to be our gambas later, and I've made a piri piri mayo. So a little prawn dipped in a piri piri mayo with a slurp of the Villa Wolf that we don't have open, and it's Sunday, so we have to choose just one.
Just a reminder, actually, when we're doing our tastings, and generally we're always out there doing tastings in people's private homes or up on for offices, doing a sort of an office party or what have you. When we do the canopy and the food pairings, we always get people to taste the wine first, then try the canopy, and then taste the wine again, and you see the difference in the wine. Because bear in mind, these wines are designed to go with food. They're not really designed to glug.
But you can with a rosé. That's the lovely thing.
How's doggies? You all right?
He's all right.
You all right? Does he want a bicky?
You just have one.
I managed to get to the wonderful fishmongers yesterday morning, and amazing to see so much fresh fish coming in. And arguably on a Saturday morning when it's not too busy, it's a good place to go. I just wonder whether there's actually quite a lot of fresh fish knocking about at the moment, which is a little bit more available than it was, because the restaurants, of course, aren't taking their
well, with that in mind, that's a good call. So with Thursday's tasting, which is our David and Goliath tasting, I have already put the canapé recipes out there for those. Yeah. So we'll stick with those, but maybe we'll think about fish for the next week, especially as it's curry week. So maybe we'll go and fish or Sri Lankan fish curry or something for a little canapé. I'll think that up, and those recipes for next Thursday will be on the website soon, I promise. And this week they've been on there for ages, so you should be well prepped for the shredded chicken canapé and the duck breast. We could probably come up with a vegan option, Sam, unless you're now moving back to eating meat that week. That'd be very convenient. However, happy to offer a veggie recipe if needs be. Yeah. Kerry's pointed out that Finn's looking thirsty, but he said he didn't want anything to drink, so we've just got him a few biscuits. He's not going to starve, in fairness.
Don't worry about the dog. So, other rosés in our portfolio. A little rosé from the Languedoc area down in the south of France, not Provence, but Languedoc. Produced just outside Montpellier. Vicky, I don't know where you come from in France, but if there's anywhere near there, then nice and local for you.
Lucky you.
From a producer called Master Domas Gassac. It's called Reserve de Gassac Rosé, and I think it's about $10.99. It's lovely, again, lovely, light, fresh, perfect colour. By comparison to the Chateau d'Olier of these two that we have here today, it's probably got slightly less ripeness on it, but really it's also moved on to 2009. It's just about to move on to 2019. So just lovely.
And it's a lovely dry fresh rosé, yeah.
And all we need is the sunshine, really. That's all we need.
So we also, rosé pulls in our other sort of, we've got always had a bit of a lust for wine from slightly more unusual language, slightly more unusual origins, and two others of our rosés. One is from Morocco, from Meknes, up in the north, near Fez.
Which Mrs. Brown of Hannibal Brown is drinking this evening.
Oh, yeah. Cheers, Doreen, if you're there.
Cheers, Doreen.
And the other is
called Zuina.
Domaine de la Zuina.
Domaine de la Zuina.
It's a Mourvèdre Tempranillo rosé. And when you usually see rosés made from Tempranillo, you're back to Rioja land, and they're kind of this colour. Yeah. Scary. But this is really delicate. It's lovely, isn't it?
Well, it is. And I mean, true to say, actually, that anybody who's been to Morocco, and certainly when we went to Morocco, we found nothing other than awful wines. And it wasn't until we came back that we discovered the Domaine de la Zuina, which is produced by two French winemakers. I think they're from Bordeaux, actually. fact, yes, they are from Bordeaux. So they know a thing or two about making wine. And again, lovely and fresh and zippy and just another alternative rosé.
And then stepping it up a notch, a little bit more expensive, but we have a Turkish rosé that is really stunning, and that is a wine that needs food with it.
Yes,
it's this same lovely, delicate sort of salmony colour, but it's got a bit more oomph behind it, hasn't it? So it's got a bit of weight. Finn likes the thought of salmon, and that's what caught his attention. Yeah. Actually, Kerry was just saying that on Countryfile, the fish industry they're saying the fish industry is suffering because of restaurants, etc. So actually, maybe
they must be
to the nation.
That's what I mean. They must be, which effectively means there's so much fish knocking about, which is available to us. Fantastic.
Great. Need to just figure out how to cook it properly.
Now I can see Kate McLeod saying fish and potatoes. Yes, I know. I'm not a big fan of potatoes. Never have been. Never will be. But I do love fish.
Absolutely hate them. Weirdly.
Even pink ones. What else have we got? What else have we got here? Oh yeah, gluggable. Yes, very gluggable. What else?
So I wanted to.
Oh yeah, the other thing is, sorry, just back on the rosé portfolio. Also, don't forget we've got some pink fizz. So we have the Sacchetto rosé, which is an Italian rosé made from, I can't remember what.
It's Pinot Grigio with a little hint of Pinot Noir. So it's
that's
like
right, to give it the colour.
Rosé, really.
So it really is light. Oh, and that word that I hate.
Oh, it begins with B and is associated with rosé. What do you think it is? Well, there might be a bit of delay on this. You might just have to sit and cringe for a while.
They do. It's probably what I'm doing right now. Come on. The Americans use it. Well, the point is that it is a bit of an American expression, and I've never understood. I've been in the wine industry for God knows how long.
Suki's got it.
Well done, Suki. Blush. Don't really know what it means. I've never understood the definition of blush.
I think it just gives you the impression of the light colour.
I think that's exactly what it seems to mean. And yet, if you look at the rosés from America, where this expression comes from, they're not in this. They're not that colour.
Maybe Americans blush to a deeper purple than we do.
Everything bigger and bolder than everybody.
That's what it is. Simon and Luke are enjoying an English rosé.
Blush. Yeah, you're all coming up with blush. Well done, everyone.
Just keep saying it. Keep blushing. Woodchester Valley. I don't know Woodchester Valley, but actually some English rosé, much like champagne, and we'll talk about champagne in a moment, can be fantastic. But again, you need to have the quality, and we do suffer with the weather in this country, but it is getting, with global warming, is getting a bit closer to rosé producing, maybe.
Remember that those English sparkling wines, whether they're white or rosé, always slightly higher in acidity because it's a slightly cooler climate, so you get more obvious acidity. Some people love that and prefer it to the champagne style, which is a little bit less acidic. But having said that, they say, and I've said this before, the people of the Champagne region are rumoured to have the most acidic stomachs in the world. So that's an awful lot of champagne.
Yeah, it sounds bad to me. So here's a question.
Yes.
So can a rosé age?
Well, you tell me.
That one, no,
not really. They're not designed to age. I mean, the thing is that the other thing about rosé is that in order to see the beautiful clarity of the colour of the pinkness, they have to be bottled in these white glass bottles. You do get roses in green bottles, and arguably that's a better bottling system because the glass colour protects from UV rays, which will instantly change the colour of the rosé. So bottled like this, they're really, the colour's just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper and sort of less attractive. This is, we've only just moved on to the 2019. We were still drinking the 2018 about 10 days, 2 weeks ago. And it was, it's still really consistent.
Still good, yeah.
So I would say you want to drink your rosés within 12 months to maybe, 15 months. But 15 months, I would say get on to the to the most recent vintage.
So another good tip for when shopping in the supermarket or looking at shelves.
Yeah.
Obviously when you're not.
Yeah, exactly. Do not go for the Billy bargains when they're 2014 vintage. They are covered.
So look for new vintages as well. So if you've got 3 or 4 wines and you've gone Southern French, like Sam said, and you've got vaguely your price bracket sorted, you maybe whittled it down to 3 or 4 choices. If only one of them is 2019 and the rest of 2018, go with the 2019.
I think somebody asked the question: how do you know whether the wine is going to be sweet or dry?
When you're
looking at a raft of different rosés. And that's a really good question. I think somebody asked it. Maybe I
might have been. Well, I think I might have planted it.
But the simple answer is, I mean, this isn't telling you anything. It's just telling you the name of the chateau from Ollières. Ollières is the name of the village. People will not have heard of it. It's a tiny, tiny little place. And it's from Provence. Well, Provence is the key, because I don't think Provence produce a sweet rosé. In fact, I would bet my life on it that all Provence rosé is dry. And I think it's probably arguably true to say that European rosés are probably more likely to be drier than, say, New World, and particularly America. So the US, the US produces fantastic red wines and white wines. But they have been sort of suckered into the bulk markets with their rosés. So
it's almost the Australia cycle of it going. It's going to come round again once they realise everyone doesn't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we'll be on the next rotation of palate pleasing.
Exactly. So Spanish, very likely to be dry.
Probably going to be a darker colour.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. Now remember, so we did touch Matthias Rosé. Now the reason why, I don't know how many people have tasted Matthias Rosé. I can't remember tasting Matthias Rosé since I was about 4 years old.
that's what it's made.
And I probably loved it actually because it was Bizante, so slightly pétillant, slightly sparkling, which is really attractive. And just slightly sweet, not hugely. In fact, I think it's around about the same sweetness as the Villewolf Pinot Noir Rosé that we got this evening.
14 to that's 12.
There we go. So not much more, but really, really ripe. And of course, it came in its lovely little dum.
Still does. We did a Christmas event about 4 years ago in Shoreditch somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was a foodie kind of festival, and we had Matthias set up next to us, which instantly was a bad thing. And they were sort of relaunching Matthias Rosé. Yeah. So they had this massive setup and all of their marketing material, giving away free bottles of rosé next to us, trying to sell rosé.
I know. They probably told more than we do.
You win some, you lose some. However, it's not a bad option. It's far better than, God forbid.
Okay, Isabel Clough, I can vouch for 2019 rosé. Good girl, Isabel. What are you drinking? I know you, Isabel, liked the Zuina. Am I right in thinking that you liked the Zuina?
Moroccan rosé, yeah. Well, the most important thing on these Sunday sessions is that you just bring a glass of anything and join in the chat, really.
Yeah.
Actually, my dad's come in. So
he's asking potato salad and lamb. Well, anything your dad drinks has got lamb in it.
It's true, or eats rather. Let's say. Eats. Denby's vineyard has been mentioned. Now, Denby's...
I thought they'd plugged in.
I'm sorry. No. Well, should we check before we talk about them?
We can tell a thing or two to Denby's about how to make
Sam has said that she's all right with the rosé from local Denby's. I've not tried it, so we will just suspend prejudice at the moment. We'll try it and we'll get back to you. But although we know you've got quite a good palate.
Anybody who knows Denby's is quite a large vineyard actually down in Dorking in Surrey. But they actually made their name from pudding wines, dessert wines, and that's really how they managed to do a really good deal with Waitrose to list their wines. But they really didn't produce very much, and it's only in recent years they've started producing slightly drier wines. They're okay, but really, if you want to go down the Denby's route, think pudding wines. That's what they're best at.
And also vineyard tours, quite nice to visit.
Oh yeah, you can get on a little train there.
You could just buy a bottle of something else on your way out.
Right then, are there any other questions? What else have you said?
So rosé is a massive subject. Yeah. But the key, I guess, is if you want,
I think. Sorry, go on.
If you want to make sure that you've got your dry rosé as your option of trying to pick. Often, if you read the description, there'll be warning signals like ripe strawberries, for example, is a bit of a klaxon for me. go for.
But just to say though, it is very difficult to describe rosé wine. So
It's true.
I mean, a really good idea, and we haven't done this either. We should do it. To go away, blindfold yourself, and get somebody to get you, a red, a white, and a rosé, and see if you can pick out that rosé. Because arguably, it's very difficult because they really are difficult to characterize.
So, what about rosé champagne? Actually, which some we've not spoken about. Why do they make rosé champagne? Is it sort of just to fill because there's a market for pink?
Or... that's a good question. That's a really good question. Why did they start making rosé?
When did they start making rosé champagne? I wonder. That might answer the question as to why.
Well, the most successful rosé champagnes are Laurent Perrier rosé and probably Bilka Salmon rosé, which is really good. Stylistically dry. Do they taste any different if you were blindfolded to a white champagne? Arguably not. You probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference because we really are talking about a steep of colour from Pinot Noir or Pinot Meunier grape. All they're doing is just and the Boozy Rouge, which is the addition, which is the red wine addition. But it's a good question.
The Boozy Rouge is something worth mentioning actually because I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
In champagne, in all the production method for rosé, for pink champagne, is to add some red wine.
Yeah, Boozy Rouge.
And the red wine comes from this specific place
called Boozy. Obviously.
Actually spelled B-O-U-Z-Y.
Who'd have thought the French had a sense of humour? Yeah. Hey, Vicky.
So it's called Boozy Rouge, which is what is added to champagne to make it pink. And that's how they work. That's how you have to make it in champagne. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with a bit of mixing, depending on where it is you're making it and how good a quality the wine is.
My advice still would be, don't go near South African rosés. They're not that good. Stick to France. Provence, in our eyes, is probably the best producer in the world because historically they just know how to do it. They get it. They're drinking rosé in the sunshine. We get it now. We want to drink rosé in the sunshine, and that's really all there is to it, really.
But be adventurous.
And even in Scotland,
others.
who is Anne up in Scotland? Again, there's a lot of negativity towards rosé, particularly with the male population of the Scots, who think it's all sort of like girly. It's not. It's not. You just got to rise above it and enjoy it. There's even climate change in Scotland. I know that.
Yeah, I think the rosé stigma has gone now with the majority of the population because people are much more open to actually. You get a really nice glass of rosé. It's as enjoyable as a nice glass of white wine when the position allows you.
I think it puts a smile on everybody's face, and that's what's most important in these times, particularly.
Exactly. Go pink.
Yeah, let's go pink, everybody.
But not all pink, because we've got all sorts of other wines to talk about. So just talking about that, because we'll wrap up shortly.
Yeah.
Thursday's lockdown live session is
David and
Goliath. So we've got the lovely Pinot Noir, followed by the big monster.
Oh yeah, so yeah, if you like this rosé, we're going to be doing Ernest Lucent's Pinot Noir, which is rather good actually. Great for summer drinking. I know a few people on there that will enjoy that.
Yeah, it's a really lovely wine, and that has the shredded chicken canapé with it, which goes brilliantly. So do try and do it because it's really a simple canapé to make.
Yeah.
The recipe is on the website.
Yeah.
And then the big Syrah Grand Reserva, again, stunning. Make sure you've got some food with it. But we're going to taste the two on Thursday, and then the following Sunday is our Mad About Malbec session. So what this was to rosé will be that to Malbec, but hopefully Finn won't eat our canapés.
Yeah. And then Thursday week, it's curry nights. God, I could murder a curry.
And that is our lovely Indian wines, which you've just got to get involved with. So you can order the wines online. We'd love for you to do what the girls are doing and get a group of you together, have a Zoom call and have a little tasting on the side. We'll just natter away in the corner and you can ignore us.
Yeah.
But a really fun thing to do. So get a group together and that'd be fab.
Yeah.
All of the wines for the next 5 wines, which are the next 3 tastings, are available in a case. So we can deliver them to your door if you'd like to join in. Obviously,
what's it called? It's called the Facebook Live case.
Yeah. So go to the homepage of the website. There's a link at the top, and you'll see all the info with the links to the canapé recipes.
Yeah.
Hope you've all really enjoyed. I know Finn's gone to sleep, so it's time for us to shuffle along.
Remember, everything's available online. You don't have to buy it by the case. You can buy it by the lorry load if you want. Anybody buy it by the lorry load would be happy. But no, single bottles, anything you like. You can mix and match. We're delivering up and down the country every day.
So,
and if you're enjoying these evenings, we are actually. We never thought we would. We're thinking, oh my God, what are we doing?
No power.
But if you're enjoying them, please do share and share and share, because the more people that we get interested, the more fun it is. And as we can see, there's an awful lot of banter going on.
Yeah, it's great. It's really lovely to see everyone joining us. So thanks very much. I hope everyone has a lovely Sunday evening. I hope you've enjoyed your weekends, and I guess we'll see you on Thursday. But in the meantime, do contact us if there's any specific wines you want to taste,
or if you're just bored.
If you would like us to come and hold a Zoom tasting with you and a bunch of mates, which is specifically for you, then we can do that too. So we have wine. We'll travel digitally and love sharing it with all of our friendly faces. So
stay safe. Keep drinking the decent wine. Remember, our focus is on organic and ethical. So only the best from us.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's a wrap. Another Sunday evening gone. Ooh.
Yeah, rosé.
All we have to do is finish the bottle now.
We didn't swear too much, and we didn't lose power, and I think we got everyone's questions in. So cheers, everybody.
Nice to see you.
See you Thursday.
Bye. Bye. Hope you like the logo, by the way. Right. Which way?
Where it says end broadcast.
Bye. Bye.